applied for it and I got it, and I traveled for almost 10 years full time. I was home 2 weeks in the summer and 2 weeks in the winter at Christmas. And
I traveled too, but I did not stay gone. I would travel for like a month, 2 or 3 weeks at a time, a month at a time, and come home. My husband was sick, so I couldn't stay gone but a couple of weeks at a time. But she actually stayed gone most of the time.
And y'all know we're workaholics, so we work, and we believe in earning our own money, earning our own paycheck. And I had come home, and it was in the summer, and all I could think about was cinnamon rolls. I love cinnamon rolls, and I knew that I wasn't going to have time to make any. And we went to our Aunt Lucy's, the one that just recently passed away, and our sweet cousin, and we didn't know she was going to do this. She comes in with a huge pan of cinnamon rolls. And it touched me so much, because God knew that I wanted those cinnamon rolls. And that was something so minute, but if he knows something that insignificant, then he knows all about each burden, each trial, and everything that we carry, everything that you're going through. Y'all pray for Mike. They took his football game off today, and he is not in a good mood right now. Bless his heart. There's 3 things in life that he loves, me not counting. He does love me, but these are his 3 top things. He loves God, number 1, and if you're around in 5 minutes, you'll know it. He loves animals. He'll feed anything that moves, and I have threatened him because we lost our last outside animal just a few weeks ago, and I threatened him not to throw any scraps out, not to put anything outside, because I can't go through the emotions that he goes through when he loses an animal. And there's a reason that he's like this with sports and animals. And the third thing is Ohio State. He loves Ohio State. He eats, sleeps, breathes, and sleeps Ohio State. He just loves them. And Fox was supposed to air the game, and they suspended Fox, so they're not airing it. So I'm trying to tell him to go online and see if he can find something. He likes to watch it, and he records all the games. But anyway, football's not my thing, but it is his, and I respect that, and it always makes life easier when they win. So y'all pray for the Buckeyes today.
Carla's going to explain the giveaway.
Okay.
And we appreciate all of y'all coming. I'm Carla. I'm Mary's daughter, but both of them are like a mom to me. I love them dearly. So getting to be part of this with them is truly an honor, and I appreciate every single one of y'all and all the joy and the excitement that y'all bring into our lives. So
Yes.
It's just been fun. These are prizes. They're Pampered Chef products. They're all very nice gifts, and the tickets that y'all filled out when you come in are in a little basket, and we're going to draw some names in a little bit, and we'll be giving away those prizes.
Make sure you have all of y'all put your ticket
Has
in.
everyone put their name in? Has everyone gotten a ticket and put it in the basket? Okay, good deal.
Go ahead and
Okay. I get to give away the first one. Yay me.
And name tags. That all of you got name tags. Y'all don't. I'll get y'all.
Okay. And the lucky winner is
We forget people's
Sue
names.
Jones from Harleton, Texas.
Which one? Congratulations,
High plate.
Sue.
High plate.
High plate. Okay. This is a deep dish high plate. So whenever you make your recipe, just make a recipe and a half. Okay.
We have the box for it.
Yeah, we have the boxes for
It goes
most of it.
Yes.
We don't for the cookie tray.
Yeah, right.
And are you going to do one more?
Okay.
Y'all are going to do
No.
two.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do 2.
Okay.
She'll do 3.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm not as big a talker and a speaker. Now you get me individually and I can talk, but when I'm in a group, I'm not that much of thinking of something to say or what to do. I kind of rely on my sister for that.
No.
But anyway, I was trying to think of something that I have not told y'all, and I might have told y'all this, I don't know. But times are different now than they were when we were children, and we had some rough spots, and growing up, we never really, I didn't ever really consider ourselves poor, but
We
didn't.
Yeah.
We had plenty food. We had plenty clothes, you know, and roof over our head. Anyway, we didn't worry about things like that. But when it came to like eating and extra money and stuff like that, we really didn't have that. We weren't given allowance for our duties.
Explain eating, because we had plenty of food to eat.
I'm talking about school cafeterias, you know, the lunches at school. Mother would give us a quarter. We could do what we wanted to with it that day if we want, because they had a snack bar. Well, I didn't get to eat in the snack bar every day, but I can remember one time she gave me a quarter, and I was so excited that I was going to eat in the snack bar. Actually, I was supposed to eat in the cafeteria that day, but I didn't. I spent my money in the snack bar, and 25 cents got me a Coke, a bag of potato chips, and a Snicker candy bar. And I felt. I just felt like that I was rich, because I got to go to the snack bar and eat me a candy bar. And Snickers was my candy. About the only thing candy that I liked was a Snicker bar. And so that was when I was in the 7th grade, and that's when Daddy actually got ill, and that's whenever he started declining. He always traveled, drove a truck, but he had to start staying at home because he just got where he was paranoid about other people. He couldn't be around other people. He got to thinking he was back in the war. You know, you've heard us talk about that. So that was a kind of a bad time in our life, was when I was in the 7th grade. So that 25 cents meant a lot to me. And of course we carried our lunches and ate it under the tree outside, and I always carried my Bible with me to church all the time. To school. Y'all see how I do? That's why I did that cake the other day. I have something in my mind, but I say something else. Anyway, my Bible, and I lost that little Bible that I carried. It was one of them little white Bibles, and I had it for years. And I think Carla was probably 9 or 10 years old. No, she wasn't that old. She was probably about 8 years old. We lived in Freeport, and when we moved, that one little box that had all my treasured things from childhood was in that box. And I regret that, but you know how it was in a closet. I know where I had it, but I left it. But I wish I had that little Bible today, because it was wore out, because I carried that to school with me every day. And the kids called me preacher at school. I didn't care, you know. I didn't preach to people. I just read my Bible. You know how you have breaks in school, and I read my Bible. But anyway, I enjoy. I can't remember scriptures like I used to. You know, that was a bug, wasn't it? That's what I thought. Felt something. Anyway, I do love church. I love God, and I love God's people. You know, everybody's God's people. Everybody is. And I heard somebody say one time, he was a minister, and I don't mean this by offense or anything, but he said he loved to preach, but he didn't like people. You know, I said, I think you're in the wrong calling. You got to love people to be a minister. I mean, you know, but I love people. I love people because we all got our faults, but you know, we've got something good too. All of us. God made us, and so that's where I get my biggest, excitement out of, is going to church and being around God's people and doing our Pinky Miles. And when we first started this, Linda was still working. She was still working full time. Yeah. No, I had just retired.
I'm sorry,
I had
Mary.
just retired, and
she couldn't stand it.
yeah, I had retired. I'd probably been retired maybe 3 months. Whenever, when you're not working and you got your mind on everything, there's time that's when God can speak to you. Because when you're so paced and so full, and got so many things going, you have to be still and listen. And you know, when you're in all this pace like we are all the time, you have to take time to just stop and think. And so during that time, the Lord laid on my heart for us to do this, to do the videos. I actually, in my mind, I was thinking that would give me an opportunity to be with Linda, my sister. And I said, I really didn't include my daughters because I really didn't think that it would get this big. I just was wanting Linda and I to be together more.
Yeah.
I was wanting her to quit her job because I wasn't working and I was wanting to be with her.
And I wanted a paycheck, and I needed a paycheck.
And every time I'd mention it to her, she'd say, Mary, I can't quit work. I can't quit work. I said, well, Linda, I said, just slow down some and let's just do our videos and cook and talk about our life, you know. And so finally, it took about 3 months. And she
She's
said,
persistent.
yeah. And I said, I really feel like the Lord wants us to do this. And so we did it, and it wasn't long. Well, how long before you quit? 2 months?
It was we started doing the live videos in July, and I quit my job in November.
Okay, so she didn't work much longer. She quit. And so it's history after that. We've just been together more than I ever even thought we would be. Yeah. And it's wonderful. And then I get my 2 daughters. One of them, Carl, lives in Wichita Falls. She comes down 2 or 3 times a month and to be with us. And little Linda, it took a while to get her in because she had a job also. But we couldn't do it without them. Yeah. So we thank Linda and Carla for all that they do to help make this possible.
We sure do. And at the time when Mary was wanting to start the videos, I was baking and I was working full time. I probably worked about 70 hours a week.
She did.
Maybe
She's working
75 hours a week.
Yeah.
For the bakers in here, how many bakers do we have that bake? That bake a lot.
Many.
It's work.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work.
Yes.
It's a lot of dishes to clean up. It's a lot of lifting. Have you ever done 2 wedding cakes in one day? I will never again attempt that. But anything anybody would ask us, oh sure, we can do it. You know, half wedding cake, half groom's cake. I won't even go into that one. But we were working. I mean, working hard. And Mike and Mary both kept saying, you got to quit baking for the public. I was really, really dead set against it. I said, I love doing this. I know it's a lot of work, but I am not going to quit baking. I had thousands of dollars worth of supplies, literally thousands of dollars worth of supplies. Every cake pan that's about ever been invented, I had it. And I just finally realized that I could not do what I was doing. And this was filming, baking, and working a full-time job. Right. So the first thing I did was quit baking after much harassment from especially Mike and Mary kept saying, Linda, you can't do this, you can't do it. And I finally quit.
Yeah, I finally just quit saying anything because she got so many orders until she seen she couldn't do it.
It's hard to turn them down, you know. Yeah. I love baking for people, and it's my passion. But anyway, I did, and I'm glad that I did. You know, God always makes a way when we think that we've got to have a certain a certain amount of money. He always makes a way, and money's not everything anyway. We all know that. But I'm like Charles. You know, if there's money to be made, I want to make it, and I don't apologize for that because it's not that I'm hoarding it for myself because I don't have a big bank account. I love to give to other people.
Yeah, right.
I love to, and we both do.
Right. Now I'm gonna draw.
It's not time yet, ladies.
Okay.
So
I thought I was getting a signal to hurry up. I'm getting mixed emotions here. Mixed signal.
Because on the bottom it says, when time's up, I'll step to the front.
Oh, okay. I didn't read that part, Linda.
So I want to take this opportunity to thank all of our friends who are watching us live. We love each of you. There's so many of you that wanted to come and that would love to have been here today. So we thank y'all for being a part of our lives. Y'all are super, and I think we have the best people in the world. I do.
I don't care about millions of people. I mean, it'd be nice, but what we've got is just special.
And we know that we're not everybody's cup of tea. You know, there's people that follow people, and I'm not a judge. I don't want that job. There's only one, and that's been taken. But there's people that will follow people that don't have the same beliefs. And when I say beliefs, I'm not talking about doctrine. I'm talking about believing in Christianity and believing in God. But there's people that, you know, their language is not appropriate to us. So we're not, you know, we're not going there. That's not who we are. We're not trying to copy anybody. We never have tried to copy anybody, and I don't think anybody could copy us. Do you, Mary?
No, because we just say whatever comes to our mind. I've even thought about it and even told Linda, maybe we need to make an outline of what we're going to say or something. It just doesn't work. It just does not work.
We never know what we're going to talk about.
No,
but there is a story that we're both going to tell together, and we had to call Charles yesterday to get some information from him, and bless his heart, Mary had to kind of walk him through it to actually get what we needed to do. But
he's getting weak. Yeah.
We lived from the high school, 3 miles, 4 miles.
Probably.
We grew up in city limits. A lot of people think we're country bumpkins just because we have East Texas accent, but we grew up in town.
We grew up in Nacogdoches, Texas. That's where we was. I was actually born in Sharina. You was born in Nacogdoches, but that's where we lived till we moved when I was 18.
Yeah.
But we actually live now. And she lives in Jefferson and I live in Henderson. So, but when we talk about Nacogdoches, some of you was a little confused about where we actually live, but we're from Nacogdoches, but we live here.
Is what we consider our home, even though we live in different places now. But Charles, he always had some kind of a old car to drive. Pinky Paw, our granddaddy, bought him his first car, which was an old Jeep. It was an Army green Jeep. Had seats.
Paid $100 for it.
Paid $100 for it. It had seats in the front and no seats in the back. And I'm going to skip one story and then I'll let you tell the one about the car. But this was the time that Daddy was in the hospital in Houston. If any of you have ever been with someone in a hospital in any capacity, you know it's very stressful. And it was at the VA. Daddy was at the VA, and of course, you know, he was on the top floor, the lockdown floor, what they call it, the psych ward, and it was really, really bad.
Yeah,
it was really bad. But we had been staying with our aunt and uncle, who were also pastors of the church there in Lufkin, or it's actually Hurdy, if any of y'all know East Texas demographics. And I don't know, is Hurdy even still a town anymore?
I don't know. It was a hole in the wall then.
It's on 103 going, I guess, southeast from Lufkin to San Augustine. And it's Highway 103, but everybody in East Texas calls it 103, and that's a highway. And they lived right off of it in their church. So we had been staying with them for several weeks.
Mother and Daddy was in the hospital.
Daddy was in the hospital, and we worked like dogs. And God rest my aunt and uncle soul. They worked, and they worked us, and we earned our keep. And when I'm talking about working, we put tar on
rent
top of houses,
and we put roofs on those houses.
110 degree East Texas heat. It was hard work. Yeah. But Charles came and got us, and we were so excited because we was leaving. I'm sorry, but we were really excited. We was going to Pinky Paws. Yeah. And at this time, we maintain our houses in Nacogdoches, but every once in a while they would rent a house and for them to fish in. And this was during one of those times. And there was a little tiny house on Highway 21 from Nacogdoches. 21 runs the same way that 103 runs. And it goes from Nacogdoches, well, it goes a lot past Nacogdoches, but goes on into Louisiana. And I guess it does, doesn't it? It goes to San Augustine anyway. So this little house was right by the river, Toyac River, and it was just pitiful. Pinky Paw, she was so mad when Pinky Paw rented that house, and they loved each other, but they fussed like cats and dogs. I mean, y'all wonder where I get my little feistiness from. I get it from Pinky Paw.
She was feisty.
She said, Lester, that house has got holes big enough to throw a cat through. But they lived there. She went with him, and they lived there, and there was a storm house in the backyard. And for those of you who don't know what a storm house is, it's a cellar or a place to hide from tornadoes.
Yeah.
And so that's where they were living at the time. And Charles picked us up, and we were driving down 103. We had an accordion, Mary's accordion. We had it in the back. We were all just piled in there like sardines, and we were singing. We were so happy. And there was some construction on 103, and there was a flagman out. Charles knocked that flag out of that flagger's hand. That's how close he got to him, because we were so happy and involved in what we were doing. He didn't hurt the man, but it sure scared us. And we kept going, and we was
afraid there's going to come after us.
Hey, did he even have a driver's license?
I don't know. I wasn't the time I went down that highway. I didn't.
So anyway, you can tell about the car. About the car.
Hey, Sherry-Ann.
Hi, come on in.
At one of the same time that we were staying there, I got in that Jeep. Uncle Deanie told me to go to the hardware store and get some nails. Well, I got in there and I was excited to get to go. I didn't have a driving license, and I went, and this is a 4-lane highway.
Talk louder, Mary.
And when I got back into the car, I pulled right out and on the wrong side of the highway. I mean, and it scared me because I didn't know. I went until I got to an exit, but it wasn't that much traffic.
But it was a busy highway.
It was. It was just the Lord that kept the cars away, I guess, because I'll never forget that. I didn't tell Uncle Deanie either. I didn't tell him when I got back, but that was just one of them, teenage stuff you do. We never really done anything too exciting. We went to church, so when we drive on something wrong side of the road, that was a big deal for us to talk about, So anyway.
So Charles usually always had a car, and after Pinky bought the first one, and he had this other car, and this is what we tried to get out of him yesterday, and we finally did. It was a 49 Chrysler.
49 Chrysler. Windsor? Yeah, I think it's Windsor. That's what Charles said, Windsor.
So Charles drove to school.
It wasn't Impala. No.
Chrysler.
It was a Chrysler.
That's okay. So we lived in city limits, but there were no school buses for inside city limits back, in the 50s. So Charles would drive us to school, and this car had no brakes.
We didn't know it.
Brakes.
We didn't know it till we got in it.
So, of course, this is long for seat belts. And so we'd go to school in it every day, and he'd just gear it down. And has anybody been down North Street in Nacogdoches by the college? Okay, so y'all know how busy that highway is. And even in the 50s, it was a major thoroughfare. So we get to Fredonia and North Street, or 59 or North Street, whatever, and he would slow down right past the Hotel Fredonia to make sure that he was going to make that light, because we didn't have any way to stop.
We prayed and we laughed all the way to school.
And that's just what we did. I mean, it wasn't. Charles never had a wreck, I don't guess. Did he?
I don't think so. But hey, it was 4 of us. We had a group. What one of us wanted to do. We had somebody backing us, so we just had fun, whatever. But we went to a lot of churches, visiting.
Yes.
If we didn't have church at our church, we found a church. It made no difference what kind of church it was. We went to church because that's what we did. We didn't go to the skating ring. We
never been on a pair of skates in my life. I see Linda up here.
My time to draw. All right, well, okay. Now, did Sherry and her husband both? Okay. All right. Good luck. Next winner. Bowen. Y'all just won. Let's see. I think I was going to give you the platter away first.
Yeah.
Is that right?
The round one.
The round one. Okay. Well. Okay. All right. You have that one. Okay. Okay. So I'll draw again for this one. Oh, that's right. You won at Linda's birthday party. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm trying to be fair. I don't know whose name I'm getting. And who is this? Emily Wallace. I have the box for that, Sherry-Ann, and I have the box for this too. So that's a platter. All right.
And these are made in the USA, these platters.
Yes, they're Pampered Chef items. Okay, so we'll.
Scoop to that or no?
I've
what?
got it.
She's
I just
gonna-
have to find it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's here somewhere.
so-
Now we are going to open it up to a little Q&A. If y'all have any questions, I probably should have announced that at the beginning so y'all could be thinking, but I'll talk a little and maybe y'all can think of something. We're just gonna let the ladies answer a few questions for a little bit. If there's something you wanted to know or just curious about.
We talk so much, we probably done told them everything about us.
Well, if y'all want to think about a little story, the hardware store, y'all didn't
I just
tell
told that.
Oh, did you? I wasn't
Yeah.
listening.
Okay.
What about under the tree? Did y'all tell
About
about
us
the
eating? Oh, we eat. Oh, that was really some hard times. That was really some hard times whenever we
This
would
was
carry
after
our
Daddy
lunch.
died.
Yeah. We carried biscuits and eggs for lunch.
Our cold fried potatoes, and I love potatoes, but I will not touch a cold fried potato.
I didn't eat no
Got
potatoes.
to be hot.
It was eggs and biscuits for lunch, and we all sit out under the tree. It wasn't just one of us. We had a
No,
group.
it was a bunch.
group. It was several of our friends, and then us. My cousin Nathan.
Yeah.
It was, I imagine, 7 or 8 or maybe more that we all ate lunch together every day. And I'm gonna tell you something. I always had a little bit of pride about me. And I really didn't want to let nobody know I had that biscuit and egg in there. So there was a few times that I just didn't eat. Because, I mean, it was just, I know you're not supposed to have pride, but I got a little bit of pride.
Well,
I didn't think, it was just hard times, and I felt like that everybody knew we was having a hard time. So I was just a little bit embarrassed sometimes.
Mama always made sure that we had something to eat. It just wasn't always what we might have wanted. But you think about this. Daddy was on 100% VA disability, which meant that all of us, and this was in the 60s.
Let me tell you that when we was eating those biscuits under the tree, that was before Daddy died.
Was it before
That was
Daddy
before
died?
Daddy died.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, maybe that was when he.
That's when he was in the. It took a long time for him to get approved. It just, how it is. It's just getting connections, and it was. I remember the day that that mother went to talk to a man. Somebody had told her about a man, a
He was
connection.
with American Legion.
Yeah. And we walked from Houston at this Miss Miller's rooming house. We walked down a long ways to the VA office, and we filled out a bunch of papers, and I think we stopped on the way back and got potato chips or something.
We had no gas money, and we didn't even have bus money. That's why we walked.
Yeah, that's why. Well, Mama saved her gas to go to see him at the hospital to see Daddy.
Right.
So we walked everywhere we went, except for whenever she was going to see Daddy at the hospital. But we had some hard times. But you know what? It didn't last long.
No,
What was it,
and
just a few
we
years,
lived
just
through
2 or
it.
3 years,
We did.
and so we've always been blessed. So we know what it is to not have something, and we know what it is to be blessed. We feel blessed regardless. We never really felt down. We always had such a good time with our friends in church. Hey, we was the first ones at church. We always sang because it was enough of us. We had a good enough people to sing and play, and she played the piano, and my brother Charles played the guitar. I played the accordion some. I didn't perfect
And
it.
Edward played the mandolin.
Yeah. So we had a good time, but that's what we did in our childhood. So
Does anyone have any questions?
How many brothers and sisters are there?
she's my only sister. I don't know what I'd do without her, honestly.
I couldn't make it without Mary.
Yeah, we are very, very close. When we was growing up, we slept together in the same full-size bed, and our feet always touched under the cover. Before we go to sleep, we would find our foot and touch our foot. And then after I got married, I didn't really realize how hard it was going to be on her, because she told me, she said, "Mary, I just can't hardly sleep at night because I don't feel your foot touching me." So we've always been really, really super close. Brothers, 2. We have 2. I have Charles, the one we talk about, is oldest, and then it's myself, then it's Linda, and then our baby brother Edward. So we have 2 brothers. So
Anyone else have any questions? How many years are between y'all?
17 months. 17 months between us. Yeah.
And if y'all think of a
question to ask it because it's probably something somebody on live is wondering also. Carla, also if you sprayed any. Does anyone else have any questions or?
I remember y'all mentioned about the hardware store. I used to work across the street from the hardware store. Y'all remember in Nacogdoches, a place called Schmidt's?
Yes. Yeah. It was
I went
a
to school.
highfalutin store.
Yes, it was.
Y'all
It
know
was
what
to us.
highfalutin is? It means out of our price range.
Now, that's where Daddy bought his. Wasn't that where Daddy bought his clothes?
He
was
he
it-
bought
no,
them at a men's store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Now, not my daddy. He was kind of like my little sister, my little daughter here. My daddy. He liked expensive things, and so does little Linda.
Daddy was a very sharp dresser.
Yeah.
Some of y'all may have, and if you have questions, let me know. Some of y'all may have heard us tell this before, but Daddy was he was really smart. He was way ahead of his time in a lot of things. Of course, there was no technology back then, but he liked he wore khakis a lot, and he always wanted to be dressed. And he sold watermelons, fish, produce, hay, whatever he could buy and sell for a profit. Daddy sold it, and he made good money. He made really good money until, like Mary said, he couldn't travel anymore by himself because of his health, his mental health. And so he come up with this idea for Mama to sew a permanent crease in his khakis. And people would call him Mr. Cecil. He always traded watermelons for gas for the truck, or there was a place in Orange or Beaumont that every time we stopped, they bought watermelons, and he traded it for food. We would get hot links and soda water. Y'all know what soda water is, like Orange Crush or knee-high, grape knee-high or cream soda, and bread and milk. And that's what he did. He would barter. He would trade for that. He hardly ever paid for gas if he was in the area where people wanted watermelons. He would just trade his goods for theirs. But they would call him Mr. Cecil, and they said, Mr. Cecil, you ride in that truck all day. How do you keep that crease in your pants? He said, my wife sewed that crease in my pants, but it was Daddy's idea.
Yeah.
He was the one that, and when he died, he had clothes in his closet that still had tags on them.
Yeah.
That Mama
That
gave
came
to
from that
Uncle
marriage.
Herschel, to Mama's twin brother. So he liked to dress nice, and Mama always took pride in the way her family looked.
Yeah.
Everything we wore, you can guarantee it was starched and ironed. Pinky Mom used to tell her, Hazel, you let them kids play in the sand. We were in Nacogdoches where we lived. It was white sand. And there's places in Nacogdoches County that's red dirt. But we lived where there was white sand. You let them kids play out there in starched and ironed pinafores in the sand? Yes, ma'am, she did.
I'm the one who ironed most of the stuff.
Not child labor, not when you were a child. But yeah,
But that was my job. I like to do anything pertaining to the house. She liked to go to the garden.
I wasn't a real domestic person in my younger years. Now, I think I've changed considerably over the years, but I used to sweep the dirt on the rug and run out
sure
the back
did.
door to Pinky Mom's and play the piano. That's what I like to do.
And then when I come along with sweep, I pick the rugs up and take them outside and dust them, and there's dirt under the rug. And then I knew who done it. It was my sister, Linda, because I didn't do that. I picked up everything off the floor.
But I did.
You said how what a good house cleaner you are. You should tell them about when you were supposed to be ironing and you left the house.
Well, that's, I'm not so proud of this one. We didn't wear shorts. And I don't know where we got those shorts.
You think maybe it was for track and we had wore a skirt over them or something?
Maybe so. But I was ironing, and we didn't have air conditioning, and it was hot. So Mama was going to lay down while I was ironing. I was the only one in the house. And she said, and I told her that asked her, could I wear those shorts while I was ironing? And she said, I could, but do not get out of this house. Don't you go outside. Well, I had 3 or 4 girlfriends down the road. Well, after I got through ironing, what did I do? I went to see my friends in those shorts. When I got back, I don't know if she spanked me or not.
She probably did.
I don't remember, but she might have. But I got in trouble. I guarantee you I did not iron his shorts again. I know that. So you know what? I was mischievous. I'm not perfect. Everybody calls me Little Perfect. Some people does, but no, I wasn't perfect. I wasn't perfect. I liked a boyfriend that I was in love with. I started liking him. He went to church when I was 13 years old, and it was just kid stuff. But I kept liking that boy until I got 18. I still liked that boy, and my senior year, he brought me an engagement ring.
Was this before Daddy died or right after Daddy died?
Right after Daddy died.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that he probably thought now that Daddy's not in the picture because
he was scared of Daddy.
Because we were serious, So he thought bringing that wedding ring, and I'll tell y'all something. I don't think I've ever told anybody.
Speak up. We want to make sure we hear.
He called me one morning before school, and y'all know we didn't miss school for nothing, and we wasn't late either. He called me and asked me would I meet him outside somewhere or another at the school before I went into school. And I said, I don't think we'll have time, because I sure wasn't going to tell my mama or anybody, my brothers and sisters, that I was going to meet him. Well, I said okay. So I met him. I was scared to death if somebody was going to catch me, because I'd never left the school before. Never. You had never heard me say this, have you?
I don't think so.
I don't think I've ever told nobody. I met him and I was scared to death. And that is when he gave me the engagement ring. We drove around the school and around about, and that's when he gave me the engagement ring. I took it, but I didn't figure I was going to keep it. But anyway, I took it because my mother was against it. And I really, in my heart, because I had been praying all them years, he
was a wild child.
He really wasn't for me, okay? So, and I knew that, but I loved him. So I took the ring, and I got back to school before school started, but I was a nervous wreck. But that's the only time I think in my life that I know it is, the only thing I ever did that nobody knew about. So I just told the world. Anyway, I took the ring. When I got home, oh my goodness, and Mother says, what are you doing with that ring or whatever, So I told her, and she said, are you sure that's, what you want? But he was wanting to get married then. He wanted her to quit school. He wanted me to marry him before school was out. Well, that was a no-no. I mean, that's, I said, no, I will not do that. So I kept the ring probably a month, maybe, and then I broke up with him, because I'll tell you, y'all may not believe in dreams and all that, but I was praying about that all the time, and I'll tell you what I dreamed. I had a dream one night when I was real heavy about whether or not to marry him or not, and in my dream, I was dragging a ball and chain, and Bobby's name was on. No, not Bobby. Bobby's who I married. John.
I was wondering if you was going to do any name calling here.
Johnny was on his name. He's dead now. Johnny's dead. Okay, but Johnny, so I knew that he was, that to me, that's what it meant to me, that it just wasn't meant, that he wasn't the right one. And after we broke up, I really found out the true person he was. So, God knows best. So anyway.
And I want to clarify what I said. He was wild, but he was from a church-going family.
Yes, he was.
And when I think of guitar players, I think of 3 or 4 people. Sister Jean Holland could make a guitar talk. Of course, there's a lot of country western singers that are really good guitar players, but Johnny could tear a guitar up. His whole family sang. His brother was a preacher, so this was not somebody she met walking down the road. This was somebody that was at our church every Saturday night. Yeah. So we knew them for, they were East Texas people. So she wasn't dating somebody that
only place I ever went was church.
Yeah, but he loved fast cars. And he loved Mary.
And he loved me, and
He
I
loved
knew
Mary.
that. I knew he loved me. But anyway, so I broke up with him, and then he got married and all that. But then 2 years later, was it 2 years? I think it was 2 years later, I did meet my husband, and see, I'm still have feelings for Johnny, even though it was over with. But I was so afraid I was going to say Johnny one night. My husband's name was Bobby. So many times I thought, oh Lord, please don't let me say Johnny to him, because they knew each other. They knew each other. So I
And
tried.
they did not like each other.
They did not like each other because they were totally opposites, totally opposite. My husband, some of y'all, probably most of you know, he died in 2008. He was sick for 10 years before he died. And I got a good husband.
He was a Marine.
He was a Marine, and so I had a good husband. He loved his children, and but I was just so afraid I was going to say it. It didn't bother me none. But that was just that was my two loves in life.
We have time for one more question. If anybody has a question, if not, then you want to go ahead and do the last giveaways, Aunt Linda, and I'm gonna because I have to step out. I'm gonna let y'all finish it out. But look,
Okay.
minutes here. There you go.
Okay. So we have 3 to give away, right? Mm-hmm. Are we going to save one to the end or doing them all now? That's what you just said, right?
All of them now. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Linda. Okay. C. Boyer? Oh, it's Boyce. I'm sorry. Boyce. Okay. So what are we giving her, Mary? The other platter?
I guess so. Whatever.
So we have a box for this. So congratulations, Carolyn. Okay, and the next is going to be the cookie sheet, and I've got a cookie scoop to go with it. I've got to find it in one of these bags. And this is Bobby Boyce. Goodness. One I picked up.
I think that's the box for that one.
Okay, and I'll find the cookie
There's a
scoop that
box
goes
for
with
yours.
that.
You're welcome.
Okay, and we got one more that we're giving away. You're welcome. And it's the fajita, or I think it's called
Cast
sizzle
iron.
pan, and then it has the wood trivet to go under it. The trivet's
are
not
nice.
heavy, but the cast iron is.
Yes.
Okay. Linda, C-O-L. Okay, Linda. Congratulations to Linda.
You've got the box. I'll have to
No,
find
this
the box.
doesn't come in a box,
Oh,
so I
okay.
don't have a box for this.
Here's yours.
Just don't drop it on your toe. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And, okay.
We wish we could give everybody a
Yes,
big item.
we do.
But that's just the reason we did those little bags, was so everybody could get something.
So, we want to say a special thank you to Bear Creek, to Robbie and Tracy and Kevin and everyone here that's helped. What is her name? Is it
You're talking about right? Mary Lynn.
Mary Lynn? I
Mary
started to say Kimberly. Mary Lynn,
Yeah.
and everyone here that's allowed us to do this, and of course to each of you who came, took your time out of the day to come to be with us, and to all of our viewers online, thank you. And
We're going to give a time that if y'all want to purchase something, or if you brought your own book for us to sign. Was Linda going to?
she'll be back in. She'll be
okay.
back in a minute.
Okay.
We've got just a little bit more time to kill. Yeah, if you brought books that you had, we'll be happy to sign them if you want us to. And so what was the other? There was another story that we were going to tell. Was it something with school? Oh, I know what it was. Y'all know that this is about the time of year that Daddy died. It was on November 1st, 1964. So this time of year is kind of a, I'm not against Halloween. I'm not, the kids all love it, and the boys used to go trick-or-treating. Mary and I never did, but they were very protective of their girls. Mom and Daddy were. But it's just kind of it's kind of a time for reflection for us. And for many, many, many years, it was really, really hard for us to even speak of these things. But I believe that there's different seasons in your life, and there's times that that you do want to speak of them, because we've learned over these last 2 years, over 2 years plus, that there are people that have things in their life, especially if it's something to do with mental health or mental illness, that you don't want to talk about, that because it's like a stigma to it. So we tend not to, but during this time is a time that we think about the things that happen. It was a very we were kids, and we were not babies, but we pretty much grew up overnight. My sister took care of basically planning our daddy's funeral. Mary and Charles did, while Mama was in the hospital. And if you don't know the whole story, and if you haven't read the book, it's in here. But it's also a time that we like to honor his life. And when Mama started, now I'm going to do my best not to cry, and I won't talk long because I see the girls back. But when Mama started writing this book, first of all, she wrote a story to their grandchildren, because I know I'm not going to get through this without crying. But
Her oldest grandson asked the question.
Yeah, they would ask for years, what happened to Granddaddy Cecil? Well, nobody wanted to talk about it because it was just too painful. So she wrote this story to the grandchildren. Now, y'all know how I am. I'm a total crybaby when it comes to this. But she wrote the book, and she wanted people to know what kind of a man our daddy was. And it was very important for her to portray that before she told about this awful tragedy, because people tend to, y'all know, people label people. They want to label people as crazy, or a lunatic or something. Mother did not want people to see our daddy like that. So I didn't want to end on a sad note, but the good thing is we had a good childhood, and we had good parents that we believe raised us right. Yeah. We're not perfect, like Mary said, but y'all know that Mary had a birthday last Friday, and we went to Dallas, and I didn't make her a birthday cake. So I made her a birthday cake today.
She just won't let it go.
So y'all can share in her cake. And before y'all all wonder why the letter is slanting, the letters are slanting, that was done on purpose. That was part of my design. And I hope that there's nobody in here that doesn't like coconut, because it's got coconut in it and pineapple in it. And the girls are going to cut it, serve y'all a piece. So I don't know if y'all want to eat dessert first, or if y'all want to get a plate, or if you're even going to eat, but we want everybody. And I also have some to go containers if you want to take a piece with you or something. So y'all want to sing happy birthday to Mary?
I wish that you wouldn't do this, Linda. I told her,
it is
and
the
warned
hardest
her
thing in the
not
world
do
to
it.
keep anything from my sister. And I had to have a little prayer meeting yesterday, because I texted Linda while we were doing our little crazy thing, and I texted her when we were going over the schedule, and I said, take time for cake. And she looked at her watch, and she said, take time for cake. So we were all literally cracking up, and so I had to Mary's like, what cake?
Is that what y'all was talking about yesterday?
That was hilarious.
The ding went off. A ding went off, and I thought it was a timer on the microwave. And Linda said something about the cake, and I thought, "Are you making a cake?" And I thought it was a timer going off. So anyway,
Good save, Aunt Linda.
It was a good save. Anyway, so oh, happy birthday to you, oh, happy birthday to you. May you feel Jesus near every day of the year. Happy birthday to you, oh, happy birthday to you. And the best year you've ever had.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We celebrated last weekend. I just learned that Carolyn, her birthday is the very next day after me and the same age.
Oh, wow.
So I have a twin here. So happy birthday, Carolyn. Yeah, we just turned 70. Yeah. We're going to stop at that.
Okay.
Y'all want to say bye and then I'm
Okay. All right. We appreciate all y'all that followed us and watched this morning. I hope that whatever, I don't know if it's all on there or not, but we thank y'all for following us and joining us. And now we're going to dismiss and who wants to stay for lunch can. If not, we'll just go mix and mingle. Thank y'all out there, and we will see y'all Tuesday.
I'll be on
You said
Monday, and then we'll be on together Tuesday.
Okay.
Bye. We love y'all.